Okay. మ్యూట్లోకి వెళ్ళు రితీష్. Okay. So today we'll discuss about how to create a legal entity. So to create a legal entity, the navigation would be system administration,
లీగల్ ఎంటిటీ అంటే
company.
ఓకే.
Sorry, not in here in. We'll have to go for the organization administration. Under organizations, click on legal entities. So legal entity is nothing but a company creation. So again, under for example, under Reliance, they might be having a number of subsidiary companies. So here, all these subsidiary companies or anything, we can call it as a legal entity. So for example, this is the USMF. So again, under USMF, there are a lot of companies are there, like Conteso Retail USA, Conteso Entertainment. So like this, you can create n number of companies here. So now, let us try to create a new legal entity here. We'll give name it as a Reliance. So once you click on the new, this will populate. Here you can give the name whichever you want, and the company code or anything like or serial number, anything you can give, or any short form. For example, for Reliance, we can give it as a REL. Here for the time being, you select India as a country, or you can select any region. Why is it not showing as an Indian country? Yeah. So after entering those basic details, the next step would be general one. Here, this field is not mandatory. And in hierarchy, in the sense, let's say you have any two to three or multiple companies, and if you feel this is an the Reliance is an a parent company, you can enable this option. Anyways, these features will discuss later. Use for financial consolidation process or use for financial elimination process. So these features we'll discuss later, because whenever we are doing the consolidation, let's say like two, if you have two companies, or like if you say like there are three companies, if you want to consolidate all the books of accounts of all the rest of the two companies with this parent company, then you will use this as a consolidation company process. For example, under Reliance, if there are two other subsidiary companies, A and B, those two companies, you can, if you want to consolidate the books of account, then you can enable this as a yes. Anyway, once we do this elimination or this consolidation process, then we'll have to create one more legal entity. There we can check all these options. And this localized functionality region, in the sense, let's say if your parent company is located in India, right? So you can select this as a using the address. For example, since we have updated it as a India, we'll try to select India as a address here. Yeah. So localized functionality region, we have selected it as in India, and the language you can select as in English. It is not necessary that it should be in only English, because there are a few countries which they follow their own language. like Russian, Germany, Chinese. If you see their software, it will be in their language itself. And the time zone you have to select, or by default, as per the localized functionality region, it will select the time zone. And the address, in the address field, you have to enter the required address here. For example, so this is the first field which by default we have entered initially, right, while creating the legal entity. So here again you can give the new address. For example, let's say your company has multiple address for corporate purpose and then for delivery, warehouse. Uh, Depending on your requirement, you might be having multiple addresses, right? Let's say for corporate address, we'll give in a, and you can select it as a purpose here: business, consignment, delivery, fixed assets, head company. For the timing, we'll see. We'll select as in business here, and the reason, let us select as a USA only, or we'll select as an India itself here. That pin code is not available. We'll select this as a 110007. Whatever the pin code it is available, we can select that one. And these are not mandatory. If you have all these details, you can update the post box number. And this is important, primary. If you feel that this is the primary address for any communications with regards to company, if you want to receive any emails or any couriers or anything, or any important information, then you can make it as a primary. Since we are making this as an address as a primary, I will enable this as a yes. And even for let's say, for example, if you have branches in multiple countries, and then if you want to make this address as an primary for that particular country or region, you can still have this option, so that for India this will be the primary address, and click on OK. Yeah. So I have updated as an for one is for corporate, and then we'll try to add one more address here. Now we'll create a warehouse. For example, for a warehouse, we'll select as a consignment. We'll click on, so these fields will it will select by default once you select the pin code here. Then click on OK. We are not selecting this as a primary. The reason being, we have already given one primary address, which is a corporate one. So these are not primary address. These are only specified for only these address is only for used only for warehouse related or consignment related. So if you make it as a primary, then whatever the corporate the information or couriers or anything that is required for the parent company, that will go to this address instead of this corporate address. This is access parameter must be selected in the Right? We'll select any other address. I think for warehouse we have a separate module, right? So maybe that we'll have to enable. We'll see once if it is saved, then we can go ahead. Yeah, now it is created. So maybe for warehouse, it's related to supply chain management. We'll have to activate few features over there in the general ledger only. So this is the address field, and the next tab would be contact information. Let's say this company has various modes of contact communication, right? Like phone number and then email ID, website. So let's say, for example, corporate. For corporate related, if you have any phone number, you can give that as a phone number. If you want to make this as a primary, you can make click on this and check this primary option. If you want to add any corporate email ID, so here and in this type field, you can select as an email ID, URL, telex, fax, Facebook. If you have any of these details, you can add. We'll give it as a business here. We'll make this as a primary. So if you want to add any other social media accounts, you can even have this option here, like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. If you have all these details, you can add. And if you want to remove this line, you can just click on the remove option here. So this is something related to the contact information. Then we'll go to the statutory reporting. So these fields are these are based on the US uh, reason. The reason being we don't have any DUNS number, NAICS or tax representative branch or subsidiary. So based on the since most of the companies are based on the requirement, they have made it as a statutory reporting, and these are not mandatory. If in case if your company is located in any of these let's say apart from US, if there are any other countries which are providing this DUNS or these fields, you can enter, or else you can ignore. Registration numbers. So even this is not a mandatory. There are a lot of fields which are, see, the reason why it is showing as a Japan, Brazil, Canada. For few countries, as I mentioned, every country has their own laws, right, regarding their company registrations or anything. For let's say for Japan related, accounting, personal, and company representative might be mandatory. For Brazil, these fields are mandatory. For Canada, these are mandatory. So for specific countries, these fields are mandatory. For that reason, they have updated here. So if you are a project or if you are working for a Japan related company, these fields will be enabled. Or if you're working for a Brazil company, these fields will be enabled, and you will have to enter all these details for Norway related all these things. So for the timing, we'll not enter, or we'll not have an option to enter any of these details since we have updated it as an Indian company. And the bank account information. So this routing number is also something. For example, in India we have an IFSC, right? But this is not related to IFSC. This is not same like an IFSC. This is separate routing number for every bank account in the US. Like we have an RBI, right? So even in US also, they have a central. They'll call it as a central bank. So if you have any central bank code, you can update here. So these fields are something related to the bank information. So these bank accounts we will update it later because we have to create bank accounts in the cash and bank management. So once we create the bank accounts over there, Again, we can come back to here and we can select the bank account. This Jaira account is also not related to Indian companies. So these fields are, most of these fields are not related to Indian companies. And under this foreign trade logistics, in case if you are doing any foreign trades related or any transactions, so these, there are a few fields which you have to enter. Since we do not have any information related to foreign trade and logistics, we are not going to enter any of these fields. Number sequences. So these number sequences we will discuss in the coming topic. There is a separate format where, for example, whatever the numbers, the number sequences are available for. See, number sequence is nothing but to record the transactions in all the modules. Let's say like journal entry, or if you want to post anything related to accounts payable or anything it may be, you should have some number sequence like 1 2 3 4, like how many numbers, like 100 numbers you are using, 1,000. So this is and there will be a separate formats as well. So anyway, that once we generate the number sequence in the next class, then you'll understand what are these fields for, like reference, number sequence, for all these things we'll discuss in the, there's a separate topic only for number sequences. And then comes under the additional registration. Even these are country specific. In case if you have any these details, this social insurance, this pension fund, all these are not related to Indian companies. If you have any image for your company, you can upload the wall image for that particular company here by just click on this drop down. You can select any banner or anything, or you click on this change. If you have any image, you can browse and you can upload this one. So this is a dashboard image, and if you want to change any company logo, even that also can be. You can click on the little change, and it will take you to the browse field, and you can select whichever you want. The print destination field. So this is an, for example, once we create this legal entity and once we start processing the transactions or anything anywhere in the next coming modules, and whenever if you feel that there's a print option you are using, whenever you use any print option, by default, if you want the information that should be displayed on the screen, you can select this as a display. Or else if you select as a PDF file, whenever whenever you click on the print, by default the PDF file will be generated instead of showing it as screen. So for the timing, we'll keep it as a screen. Later, whenever you want, anyway, for each and every report, we have a multiple options to export it. So there we can select. So once you select as a screen, later we can convert into PDF or anywhere. This is something related to tax registration number. Even these are country specific. But in India, we have a tax registration number. If it is there, you can update here. So it is not mandatory. This is Zakat, all these are country specific. Golden tax, all these are country specific. And tax 109, even these also related to US itself. It is not related to Indian company. So if you have any all these details, you can update here. Tax information. This is related to Indian company, but since these are not enabled, maybe due to this trial version, I think so. This permanent account, PAN number, assessing office number, all these things, board number, all these related to Indian companies. If these are enabled, you can update it. So now we have created the legal entity Reliance. So once we create like this, you can create a number of legal entities here. So are you clear with this legal entity? Do you have any doubts?
No. ఇప్పుడు ఈ లీగల్ ఎంట్రీస్ అంటే ఇది కంపెనీ క్రియేట్ చేసాం, అంటే మన ఓన్ కంపెనీ క్రియేట్ చేసాం అంతే కదా ఇది.
So now we'll go to these registration IDs here. Yeah. So here you have an option for either if you want to make it as an active history or future, you can enable all these options here. Anyway, this is not necessary. We have already updated over there itself, which is primary, which is mandatory and all. Let us see what is there in this registration ID search. So this is something related to global address book. See, for example, in a company, for various reasons, if you have multiple addresses, like for SunVat related and in personal, there are few fields here which are country specific. So we'll try to create this. What is this SunVat? Or else let us select as a vendor. And these are not enabled, maybe because of since as per the country specific, we'll have to select like this. These are not enabled, so we'll not use any of this one. Maybe once we get into any of this all different types of registration or different types of roles, we I never used all these things. If in case if you come across any of your project, in case if your company has all these details to be updated, then you will understand what is the importance of each and every field and what is the registration ID search criteria, everything. Yeah. So once you are done with all the mandatory fields which are supposed to be entered here, you can click on the save. So this is about the legal entity creation. So you can try to create at least 2 3 legal entities. Then you will get an hands-on on this one. Then in the next class we will discuss about the. We'll go to general ledger. We'll give an overview about how to what are the basic things that you will have to remember, and then we'll go directly go to accounts payable or something. So do you have any doubts here?
As of
So
now,
try to create 1 or 2 legal entities. It will be easy. It won't take that much time. Whatever the time we took for explanation, for while creating, it won't take that much time. Okay, you can stop recording.